How long ago was that you got your first tattoo?
2023? I sound like a psycho. Can you just lie and tell me it was like 2019? I know, but we don't want to tell people because they're going to think I'm f***ing nuts. Hey, I'm Alan Ritchson. I got a lot of ink, so this is my GQ tattoo tour. Most of my tattoos were applied by this artist, Pasha Inc. I think he's one of the best tattoo artists in the world. I peruse his Instagram page sometimes just to enjoy the art because he's like so good at what he does. He's got control of color like nobody else.
How many tattoos do you have?
Kat?
23.
My makeup artist is behind the camera right now. She's emotionally scarred by what she has to cover, so she's got it down. She knows it's 23. My goal is to set the record for the most tattoos in the least amount of time. This is a midlife crisis we're having. It's a cry for help. I remember being so scared of the first tattoo that I got, which is this little guy right here. Wait, just imagine none of this is here. And you have one little tiny tattoo with some Japanese characters there. My wife and I got these matching tattoos. It says Hachiko. I mean, the meaning is like loyalty, right? Like if you've ever seen the Richard Gere movie about Hachiko the dog, there's a statue to this dog in a train station in Japan. So it just represents that loyalty and undying love. And I just think there's something so amazing to aspire to. And it's truly like who my wife is. It's like her essence. So when she said that she wanted to get that tattoo, I was like, matching tattoos, because that's what we aspire to be to each other. And I thought for sure I was going to kiss my career goodbye. People would be like, we can't hire him. He's got a tiny forearm tattoo. And when nobody batted an eye, it unleashed the hounds, because I was, then I was like, oh, well, now I know nobody cares. So I'm going to go for it. I did these at the same time. This is like a cross. It says boundaries, devotion, and winter storms, like really cool handwriting. And this, and I thought like, I was like, I've overdone it. I think I've overcooked it a little bit here. And people are gonna think I'm crazy going so fast. And then when I realized nobody cared, I got this piece. This is a dove, and my oldest son's name is Caleum. And it means, it's Gaelic, and it means like dove in the sense that like a peace offering. When my wife and I were she was pregnant with our first, I was like really panicked about like, what if we birth a serial killer or something, you know? Like what if we end up with like the bad egg? And she was worried, she was like, what if we mess him up or something? And so we're like, we wanted to be good parents, but it was stressful. And she had a dream that her belly was glowing with this radiant, like golden light, like just like a radiant heavenly light coming out of her. And she woke up and she was like, I think he's got a golden heart. Like, I think he's a peaceful spirit. And I was like, we were both, we calmed down so much. And he's like, he lives up to his namesake. He brings peace everywhere he goes. That's what this represented. That was my first one for my oldest son. This is an abstract flame. I really feel connected to these because they really capture the spirit of these kiddos. But Eden, my middle child, is like a hugely deeply feeling child, and he thinks hyper visually. He almost has trouble, writing and with words because he's so visual. And his name means little flame. It's Eden, and he's just such a different force in the world. I tell him all the time, you're gonna light the world on fire in the best way, and it might be hard to fit in now. He struggles with assignments that everybody else seems to pick up on, but he's gonna be an amazing artist. So he's my little flame. I was shooting season 3 of Reacher. There was a scene in season 3 where I go in the water and fight this giant. And so we were shooting that sequence. Not a good time to get a tattoo. Great time for me because I had like one day off before we got in the pool. I went and got a tattoo while we were shooting that sequence. And Cat Crisp, who told me I was an idiot for doing it and tried to stop me, and it got so infected, it was like raised like a ½ inch off my arm and pussing. And it was like oozing and it was like peeling. And anyway, she thought I for sure was gonna lose my arm on this one. But I really wanted to do the lighthouse, and there was just no other time to do it because it would have meant like I didn't have another day off for like a year. I actually almost lost my arm doing that. This was the most painful one. Amory's, it means like little warrior, defender of, the defender of the town or whatever. Like, my wife and I tried very hard not to have a third child, and there he was. Like, I remember I was working on the set of Ninja Turtles at the time, and we were in Manhattan, and we had an infant, and we had a kid in a stroller, and like, if you've ever been in Manhattan with little babies, like, it's not very baby friendly. Like, getting down into the subway with a stroller, it's like a pain. And we were very overwhelmed, and I was on my 3rd week of night shoots. My wife, I'd gotten her a nutritionist. She was like eating super clean, and then all of a sudden she's like, I kind of want to get some cronuts. Like, I think some muffins and donuts and olives would be nice. So she went home one night and she got a pregnancy test, and she shoved it in my face very angrily, like it was my fault. I went to work and And I remember Megan Fox was like, "You look white." And I was like, "I just found out I'm having a third kid." But he's like the biggest blessing because he's the coolest dude in the world, and he is a warrior. He's wildly intelligent and he's gonna do kind of whatever he wants in the world. so that's him. He's my little warrior.
Which tattoo took the longest?
It's a toss-up, okay? Because this skull, Crown of Life is what I call it, which is, it's ironic because it's on a skull, not to bring the room down, but I'm a suicide attempt survivor. And I realized in that moment in my life, I had an early midlife crisis. And, I realized that we have to confront death in great and small ways every single day to find life. Like if we really want to find ourselves, we have to confront death metaphorically and literally. If we want to awaken to what really matters in life. And this is a testament to that. It took 18 hours and we did it nonstop. Pasha's amazing. I'll talk about him for just a second because he's touched my life, obviously, literally. But his story is pretty incredible too. His village was one of the first villages inside the Russian border in Ukraine, and it was one of the first villages leveled when Russia invaded Ukraine, and he and his brothers tried to escape over the border, and not all of them made it, and he did. And it's the most tragic story in the world. It makes me want to cry. Canada gave him refuge, and so I shoot Ritchson in Toronto, and I was looking for a great artist around there, and I saw his art, and I was like, God, this guy is world-class talented. He got in the US on a refugee program there, so now he tattoos in LA. His story's incredible. So in talking to him, more over the years, it's just, he's an amazing person that's overcome so much, and now he's a world-class tattoo artist with a huge following, and nobody deserves it more than Pasha. Then we did the two faces. Obviously everybody knows what this is, but for me it's poignant because I was diagnosed with bipolar. I don't think I have it. I do experience a lot of huge emotional swings relatively quickly because I'm just a feeling person, and that's totally normal, and I don't think that should be a clinical diagnosis. But this represents the swings of life. It's a real roller coaster, my experience, and I know that, that forces other people onto a ride a lot of the times, and I don't know, that's good and bad, and the pros and cons and blessing and curse of it all, and I just think that represents that journey. It's a happy and sad one. So the last one that he did, which is not finished yet, is the Myth of Faton. This is his interpretation of, there's a piece of artwork that's really beautiful and captivating, but it's about the Greek myth Faton, which is a cautionary tale against hubris. Phaeton steals his father's horse and chariot and is warned that he's not capable of driving this thing. And yet he says, I'm gonna do it anyway, and he flies it too close to the earth and he burns it up. And so his punishment is to be struck down and killed. So in the artwork, you're seeing his horse and chariot and Phaeton falling to the earth. And while that seems pretty cerebral and a lot for a tattoo, I got it at a point in my life where fame has become a real character in my story. And fame is one of the most toxic elements in a human journey. And I think you can look to just about anybody who's experienced a lot of it and watch a cautionary tale unfold before your very eyes. On a personal level, what it does is it kind of fuels a lot of pride and arrogance in a sense. And I never want to surround myself with yes people. I never want to be the kind of person that feels like I'm entitled to anything. I want to look down and be reminded constantly that pride and hubris is something that I think the universe rightly punishes, and so I'd like to just, try to keep it in check as much as possible. It ain't done yet. It's been 5 days, 5 very long sessions, and it started because I'm an idiot on the set of Man with a Bag, which is a Christmas movie. I was doing a movie. I've now shot it called Runner with Owen Wilson. And the director was like, hey man, we've never seen all your tattoos, and I want this guy to be edgier, and so I want to show your tattoos. I want you wearing a white tank top. And I was like, oh shoot, man, dude, for years I've been wanting to fill this space with this idea that I had, but it was I just looked like I was an unfinished project. And so I called Pasha and I was like, dude, I need you to do this, but I'm working in New York right now on set. And I wear a jacket the whole time because it's a Christmas movie, so now's the time to do it. So I flew him in, and we were working in my trailer, and so he would be tattooing me, and they'd be like, we're ready for you. And I'm like, I gotta go. And so I'd go I'd walk in with it bleeding and exposed and ink dripping down my arm, and I'd wait as long as I could to try to let it dry, and they're like, okay, we're ready, rolling, and I'd throw my jacket on. But I think walking through grips who were coughing on me and stuff was not the most sanitary thing in the world, and I got super infected. I'm shooting a Christmas movie with Arnold Schwarzenegger trying to fight for my life and try to overcome sepsis almost on a daily basis, and didn't even get to finish it. I got 2 days left, 2 days. Zeus is up here. He's throwing the lightning bolt. We got some of that color going. So he's up here. He's on a mountain. Mountain ain't there yet. And then some of the horses aren't even done. Look at this. You can't even tell what the hell that is. You're like, what is this mutant creature? That's a horse, but you gotta have color. Ugh. So I read the script to War Machine. Patrick in Lionsgate had sent it to me, and he sent me a license plate that he had made, and I think it said 81 or Pray for War or something, like a phrase that he would use all the time around the film. And he was like, look at the dedication or something. I go to my tattoo artist and I get 81 tattooed on my ribs, and I go, "That you're not gonna top this dedication, dude. We're making this movie." I didn't think about it again. Like once it was on, and it was sort of like for me, and it was also, you know, something that Patrick and I enjoyed. And it's funny, it's like I don't have a Reacher tattoo or like a Thad Castle tattoo, you know, like it never occurred to me. I was so moved by like the character, which I mean, this might sound cheesy, but like it touched my life in a way where I was like, I want the spirit of 81 to be something that like, you know, that I embody. The cast that we had on War Machine, it was a young cast. Many of them, their first time, some of them, you know, the first time they'd been in a film, you would never know they're incredibly talented. But they were like, you know, I saw the tattoo go on and I was like, oh shit, like what kind of film am I stepping into? He's taking this really seriously. And I was like, oh, that's like a nice happy accident. Like now the people are like extra motivated because I'm like that into the character. Yes, so 81 was because of 81. I mean, I've got this canary back here. I had a conversation with my middle kid who's like, you know, deeply, deeply emotional. He was upset and he was like mad at himself for being upset and being emotional and didn't want to bring anybody down. And I had a conversation with him where I was like, you know, miners used to take canaries into the coal mine with them, and they would bring them because they would pass out when gases, you know, when like the mine was off-gassing something lethal, the canary would be the first to go, you know? And so it was an early warning sign that like something was wrong in their world. And that's a huge responsibility. It's like a life-saving measure, and it spares the life of many others, but it's a terrible burden for that little canary. And I said, like, people like you that are deeply empathetic, you're the canary in the coal mine for a world that is like too much. And when things are out of whack, like you're the first to let us know that like we need to recalibrate as a human, as society. And that's a big responsibility and a huge burden. And it's unfortunate that some people have to experience that, but the world needs empaths like that are the canary in the coal mine for when we've gone off the rails. And so to honor that conversation and just how special I think those kind of people are in the world and how they should be elevated, I got the canary just to remind him how special I think he and many people like him are.